Hello children. Today we are going to learn a new lesson from class 9 beehive. Before I start the lesson, I would like to ask a few questions to you. You may be surprised if I ask you, is there any possibility to have a wild animal as a pet animal? But you have animals at home, pet animals, a dog, a cat, and you can easily train them, play with them, make them to do the things what you want them. But training a wild animal is quite difficult. But Kenneth Anderson, the writer of The Bond of Love, showed us through his lesson, The Bond of Love, that it's not that difficult to maintain a bond of love with the wild animals too. So here, let's go with that very fascinating story of an orphan sloth bear that was rescued by the author Kenneth Anderson. Before I start the lesson, I'll tell you something about the author. Kenneth Anderson was born on 8th March 1910 and died 30th August 1974. He was an Indian-born British writer and hunter who wrote books about his adventures in the jungles of South India. He was from a Scottish family and settled in India for 6 generations. So, he is India-born British writer and a hunter who wrote books about his adventures in the jungles of South India. He was already told that he was a hunter, nature enthusiast, and a chronicler of wildlife. His hunting expedition involved several close encounters with man-eating tigers, rogue elephants, leopard, and other wild animals. He wrote about 8 books and 60 short stories, which recount many of his real-life adventures and hunting exploits in the jungles of South India. So, now before we start the lesson, let us know about what is bond of love. The bond of love is about the emotional bond which the author's wife and her pet bear share between them. The author rescued the baby bear in an accident and gifted it to his wife. And the real bond, how it developed between Kenneth Anderson's wife and the sloth bear, baby bear cub. Let us see from the lesson, The Bond of Love. I'll begin with Bruno, my wife's pet sloth bear. You know what are sloth bears? They are seen inhabited in the forest areas, including the tropical rainforests of India and grasslands at lower elevations. Sloth bears have very shaggy hair and long muzzles. Using their claws to dig, they can then use their lips to form a tube which can go deep into the ground or into the hard to reach areas like dead trees for their food. Their main food is termites. You can hear them suck up their food from several feet away. So now that sloth bear cub baby was the pet of Kenneth Anderson's wife. And the name they have given to it is Bruno. I got him for her by accident. It was not that he deliberately brought it. It so happened he had to bring it home as it became motherless. Now he's telling what was the reason for him to bring the bear cub home. 2 years ago, we were passing through the sugarcane fields near Mysore. People were driving away the wild pigs from the fields by shooting at them. Some were shot and some escaped. We thought that everything was over when suddenly a black sloth bear came out panting in the hot sun. So it has happened, the story, the event, when he accidentally brought the sloth bear cub home. He was just narrating it to us. It was almost 2 years past, and it was in the sugarcane fields. The cane was ready to reap, but they had a trouble with the wild bears. So they started wild pigs, boars, and they were shooting at them, and some were shot and some escaped. At that time, they thought they have finished everything. Then suddenly, a black sloth bear made its appearance before them. In the hot sun, it was panting. Maybe it was coming from a far off distance. One is the walking for a long distance, and then the heat of the sun. Now, I will not shoot at sloth bear only, but unfortunately for the poor beast, one of my companions did not feel that way about it and promptly shot the bear on the spot. So Kenneth Anderson, he did not have an idea to shoot the bear. Want only means for no good reason. That means deliberately he didn't want to actually kill or shoot. But unfortunately, unluckily, it's a really poor beast. It did not harm them in any manner. So there were many companions along with him. So one of the companions shot the bear dead on the spot immediately. As we watched the fallen animal, we were surprised to see that the black fur on its back moved and left the prostrate body. So when they thought that the animal was dead, and then just had a look at the animal, then they felt that something was moving on the back of the sloth bear. Prostrate means the body which was lying on the ground facing downwards, back. Sometimes you just lie on the ground face towards the ground. That is called a prostrate body. Then we saw it was a baby bear that had been riding on its mother's back when the sudden shot had killed her. The little creature ran around its prostrate parent making a pitiful noise. So naturally the baby bear could not understand what exactly had happened. But it understood the mother was not moving. There is no movement in the body of the mother. So it was running around its mother's body, and the sounds it was making were quite pitiful. I ran up to it to attempt a capture. It scooted into the sugarcane field. Following it with my companions, I was at last able to grab it by the scruff of its neck, while it snapped and tried to scratch me with its long hooked claws. So now, Anderson understood that the baby bear lost its mother, so he wanted to catch it. He wanted to hold the animal. So it scooted. Scooted means to run away from these strangers. Following it, he and his followers are the companions. They went, and finally he could grab it by the scuff. Scuff means the neck part. He was holding it while it snapped and tried to scratch me. It was trying to leave the grip of the otter and trying to move away. And while it was trying to get out of the clutches of the otter, it tried to scratch him with the long, pointed, hooked claws. We put it in one of the gunny bags we had brought, and when I got back to Bangalore, I duly presented it to my wife. She was delighted. She at once put a colored ribbon around its neck, and after discovering the cub was a boy, she christened it Bruno. So they managed to just push it into a gunny bag, that they were holding, and they brought it. And when they got back to the Bangalore, now Bengaluru, he immediately presented it to his wife. And you should see, she was quite delighted, very happy. And she at once took a ribbon and put it as a bow around the neck of the sloth bear cub. And after checking it, thorough checkup, she came to know that the cub was a boy, and she named her christened means given the name as Bruno. Bruno soon took to drinking milk from a bottle. It was but a step further, and within a very few days, he started eating and drinking everything else. And everything is the right word. For he ate porridge made from any ingredients, vegetables, fruit, nuts, meat, especially pork, curry and rice regardless of condiments and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolates, sweets, pudding, ice cream, etc., etc., etc. As for drink, milk, tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water, buttermilk, beer, alcoholic liquor, and in fact, anything liquid. It all went down with relish. So now we should see the diet habits of the sloth bear cub, Bruno. She took to drinking milk from a bottle. It's a cub. So there is no other means of making it drink milk. So the author's wife took a bottle with a nipple, and she started feeding it the milk. It was but a step further, and within a very few days, it was just only a starting. And afterwards, after a few days, Everything is the right word. It started eating. Who? Bruno. Everything, even drinking everything, whatever came in front of it. So nothing was impossible for Bruno. And everything is the right word. Here the author was saying, the narrator was saying that everything is the appropriate word. That whatever comes, whatever, never, there is no for Bruno. Okay, so now what were the things that it ate? He ate the sloth bear porridge. Porridge, like your mother makes the, semia porridge, or otherwise sometimes it will be with semolina, so semi-solid liquid kind, sweet dish, made from any ingredients. It can be vegetable, fruit, nuts, meat, especially it likes to eat pork, pig meat, curry and rice regardless of condiments. Condiments means the spices. Though it is very spicy, it enjoys, relishes the taste. Condiments and chilies, bread, eggs, chocolate, sweets, pudding, ice cream, what not, everything, etc., etc., maybe something else added up to the list. Now, coming to the drinking items, milk, tea, coffee, lime juice, aerated water like you have Thumbs Up, Pepsi, such kind. Okay. And then buttermilk, beer. It's nothing is less for Bruno. Even beer and the alcoholic liquors. And in fact, anything which is in liquid form. It all went down with relish. Means a very happy, enjoyable items it used to eat and drink. So now, to the next paragraph I'm going to go. Okay, it is the 8th paragraph. One day, an accident befell him. So it was going on very happily, it was moving about. And then the things that it was relishing was given readily to it. But something had happened, unexpected event took place. I put down poison, barium carbonate, to kill the rats and mice that had got into my library. So rat poison, it is barium carbonate. He placed it in the library in order to kill the rats that were damaging his books in the library. And Bruno, you know about Bruno, it will be searching every time. Very free to move about in the house. Bruno entered the library as he often did, and he ate some of the poison. So we told no, nothing is impossible for it. Everything, whatever comes, it catches its eye. Immediately, he is ready to eat. So he ate some of the rat poison. Paralysis set into the extent that he could not stand on his feet. But he dragged himself on his thumbs to my wife, who called me. I guessed what had happened. Off I rushed in the car to the vet's residence. A case of poisoning. Tame bear, barium carbonate, what to do? So now, he ate happily that. And now, it paralyzed the body, the limbs of the bear. He could not stand. The bear could not stand on its feet. And so, it started dragging himself on his tummy, the back, base, to his wife. And immediately she called, Kenneth, look here, what happened? So I ran. Kenneth Anderson ran to see what had happened. So he understood, he could guess. Because he was, maximum was moving about with the animals. So he understood what had happened. So then he rushed in the car to the vet's residence. Vet means veterinary doctor who cures the diseases of the animals. A case of poisoning. Tame bear. Bear was the tame once, a pet animal. And what was the poison? Barium carbonate. Now what they should do? Out came his medical books. Now the veterinary doctor was trying to locate the proper medicine. Okay. And a feverish reference to index began. Feverish means a continuous, a vigorous. Okay. What poison did you say, sir? Barium carbonate. Ah, yes. Barium salts. Ah, barium carbonate. Symptoms, paralysis, treatment, injections of... Just a minute, sir. I'll bring my syringe and the medicine. So the doctor was so sensible. So he started checking the books, his materia medica, and then he could make out. He started checking and he asked him. He clarified what was the salt that was taken by the Bruno. And Anderson told it was barium carbonate. And then he started checking in the barium salts. Then he happened to get that, and immediately the remedy was also located by him. And he said, wait, I'll just go and get the injection. I know the symptoms, paralysis. Now I'm going to get the injection. Just hold on. A dash back to the car. Dash means run. It goes. See what happens. Bruno still floundering about on his thumbs, but clearly weakening rapidly, some vomiting, heavy breathing, with heavy planks and gaping mouth. So meanwhile, dash back to car means to go and get the syringe or whatever is needed. Meanwhile, Bruno was in the same condition. Floundering means it was unable to move, struggling hard to move from its place. So now again it was moving on the stumps, but they could see, Anderson could clearly observe that there is a strength weakness in Bruno. And then along with that other symptoms of vomiting, then heavy breathing with heavy flanks. Flanks means the up and down movement of the sides of an animal that are called as flanks. And then movement, rapid movement, and gaping mouth, open like that. And the breathing sound was coming out, heavy breathing. Hold him, everybody. In goes the hypodermic. Bruno squeals. 10 cc of the antidote enters his system without a drop being wasted. 10 minutes later, condition unchanged. Another 10 cc injected. 10 minutes later, breathing less, stertorous, and Bruno can move his arms and legs little, although he cannot stand yet. 30 minutes later, Bruno gets up and has a great feed. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, what's barium carbonate to a big black bear like me? Bruno is still eating. So the injection was brought. The condition was deteriorating. Now, the doctor was with the syringe. He was cautioning them to hold the animal. And now, In goes the hypodermic. Hypodermic, a very big needle usually given are used for the animals because they have a very thick skin. So it's a very big needle and injection under the skin. So he used. Bruno squeals. It's making some sounds, painful sounds. What was the dosage? 10 cc of the antidote. Antidote means to get it out of the danger. Okay. And enters his system without a drop being wasted. Not even a single drop of it came out. Everything was injected into the body of Bruno. 10 minutes later, they waited for 10 more minutes, but no change in the condition of Bruno. Again, after 10 minutes, another 10 cc was injected. Then again, 10 minutes gap. Breathing less stertorous means it's a kind of sound like that. The sound was coming and condition was almost the same, we can say. And Bruno can move. After 10 minutes, the breathing was a kind of snoring sound. And now Bruno was in such a condition that it could move his arms and legs a little, although he could not stand on its feet yet. 30 minutes later, it's almost half an hour done. Bruno gets up and has a great feed. A feast was there before Bruno. He looks at us disdainfully, as much as to say, what's a barium carbonate to a big black bear like me? Eh? What is that you're saying like that? Why are you so worried? Disdainful means to show someone that something is unworthy of one's consideration. Eh? Nothing for me. See, I'm back. Don't worry about me. What is that barium carbonate? Nothing. It can do no harm to me. Bruno is still eating. Another time, he found nearly 1 gallon. So one incident was with the barium carbonate, that too which was kept in the library for the sake of rats. But Bruno, he loves to eat, always looking here and there. So he has the habit of getting into the library as usually he has done. So he went, found that, ate, got a trouble, rectified. Now second incident. Another time he found nearly 1 gallon of old engine oil. 1 gallon means almost, you have to tell me how much it is. So it is a volume of equivalent to 3.79 liters. Okay. Old engine oil, which I had drained from the sump of the Studebaker, an old American car, and was keeping as a weapon against the inroads of termites. He promptly drank the lot, but it had no ill effects whatever. So second time it went, and there was a storage of engine oil, and it was taken out from the Studebaker car, American car, and the author Anderson kept it aside in order to just kill the termites. So this Bruno drank it very promptly, immediately, a lot, but nothing had happened, no ill effects whatever. So for the Bruno. Okay, dears, with this I'll stop here. We'll continue with this story tomorrow. It's a very beautiful. I think you all enjoyed it. So you understood that nothing is that means nothing is impossible. When you want to train an animal, you might have gone to a circus where you have found Many animals, that wild animals, were ordered by the people over there. They usually drape them around the necks. Sometimes they make them to go through the rings. So many feats will be done over there. That's not a very big deal. You can. So you understood, I think so. I'll just give you a brief introduction to this. Again, the bond of love is a fascinating account of an orphan means mother was killed, sloth bear who was rescued by the author Kenneth Anderson and gifted it to his wife as a pet. Nobody will give a baby bear or a bear as a birthday gift or a gift. But here it was done. This playful baby bear grew friendly not only with the people around him but also with the 2 Alsatian dogs in the family. The bear's intelligence, playful nature, memory and sense of affection won everyone's heart, especially that the author's wives, a lot. So now in the coming paragraphs you are going to know more about Bruno. So till then, bye-bye. See you all again tomorrow. Bye once again.